Okay, you're very welcome, Diane. I want to thank you for coming along and taking part in this training video.
No
Um,
problem.
you're chairperson of Limavady High School, but I'm just going to ask you if you tell us a little bit about your background and maybe how long you've been governor and chair in the school.
Yeah, sure, Derek. Yeah. I suppose my background is loosely education, in that we've been providing developmental and education programs in a charitable organisation called Roe Valley Community Education Forum, which has been in existence for over 25 years in the area of Limavady. So our educational programs are basically to give people who have been long-term unemployed or economically inactive an opportunity to develop new skills and to get some recognised qualifications from a perspective that potentially they wouldn't have had before. So yes, I have worked in this organisation for the past 17 years. Prior to that, I worked for a corporate company in Belfast called Parity, which delivered postgraduate training to potential managers. And prior to that, a long-standing kind of career development myself. So I started out as a nurse in the 1980s. So yeah, I've had a long career. I've been on Board of Governors in Limavady High School for 17 years, but I have been chair for 15 of those. So it's been a very long-standing relationship with the school. PTA first of all, and then member of governors, and then chair. So that's my.
So you have a considerable amount of experience, Diane, in terms of the governors, and certainly
Yeah.
a long-standing role as a chairperson as well.
Yeah.
We're thinking around the theme of ethos and ethos within the school. So,
Mhm.
as a chair of governors, what role do you think you play in the setting or the development of that ethos within the school?
Well, obviously the ethos within Limavady High School is important to the whole management team and governors. And, for us, it's about working together. It's about working as a community. It's about the family ethos and how we're seen and perceived within the community and within school. Governors obviously meet 3 times. We do our finance and general purposes meeting, and then we do our full governors meeting. So we meet every term, and there are subcommittees that meet outside of that, and F and GP. But we're there to support the leadership team, namely the principal and the 2 VPs, pastoral and curriculum development, and that is to promote the ethos and that joined up learning that we have within Limavady. All bolstered, I suppose, by the sharing education and the shared education community that we have within the Roe Valley, which is fabulous. We're all very proud of that. But governors basically are there to be a support and to be, I suppose, a sounding board for our leadership team, to make sure that they are heard, that they are, if you like, supported through the process that we do, the planning, the accepting and kind of modification and rubber stamping of that planning process that Darren and his team go through yearly, because we're constantly looking at our planning documents. And that all is done by the ethos or guided by the ethos of the school.
Okay, thanks, Dan. You've indicated there certainly your long-term relationship with the school in terms of your role, and relationships are key. You've talked about your relationship with the principal and with the 2 vice principals as well. So, as a chair, what are your key relationships and how do you nurture those? You've hinted at those. There may be more, but how do you nurture those relationships?
By being open, I think, and by being available. So, yeah, over the last 15 years, the relationship that I've developed with the school, not just with the leadership team, but with the school, has been one of openness, available to them when needed. I mean, I attend one of the leadership meetings and try and do that each term. That's part of our school development plan. It's part of the management plan. So the strategic development of the school is very keen to encourage governors to be, I suppose, visitors to those leadership meetings, which is great because it allows us a very clear understanding of how the leadership team performs and works. So for me as a chair and for the rest of the governors as a governing body, we stay available. We make ourselves available. We attend functions in school. We attend open evenings. We attend prize days. We attend when we can. Obviously, COVID has kind of thrown the spanner in the works of that. But the relationship grows because of the relationships we have with staff and students. And that for me has been one of the most rewarding things that I have done, certainly in my last 20 years of work, was being involved in a school as forward thinking as Limavady High School, and indeed the ethos and ideals that they seek within the learning community of Limavady.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. You've given us sort of an insight there, and particularly those relationships stretch very importantly over to the pupils and the students within the school as well. Changing tack slightly, I suppose, and this is maybe, it's not so much a pointed question, but maybe more of a challenge. What would your expectations be? I know Darren is in the situation as the principal at the minute, but expectations of any principal that came along from your perspective as a chair?
Mm-hmm. My expectations of any principal in any school, I suppose, if I were, whether I was involved with them or not, is to make sure that the needs and best interests of the students are put first. So it's not about managing a business, it's about managing a community, and the community is the school. And our ethos is very much that the students are first. Every student matters, every child matters. And that is it for me. It's every child matters, and making sure that they are properly represented, and making sure that the needs of the child comes before the needs of the school. And very often the two of them are inextricably linked, but the needs of the children need to be of paramount importance. So the service that we're providing is a service to the community and ideally our children.
Thanks, Dan. And I make that you've touched on a very important aspect there in terms of community, and giving that sense of it's not just about individuals, it's about that collective, that wider community as well. You touched a little bit earlier on in terms of openness, and I suppose I want to tease that a little bit more. I mean, what are the values and skills that you feel are essential, maybe for your role, but maybe for any governor that's coming in to govern within a school?
I think it's to go in with an open mind and to be allowed to change your mind. So we can all have these great ideas of what we think is best for kids, on a personal level. But actually, whenever you become a governor, it's not about looking at one child or one group of children. It's about looking at the holistic approach to children's education and education in life, as well as education academically or any other way. So I think for me, it's about being open to ideas, open to change, open to diversity, and being transparent as well, not doing things for ulterior motives, because there is no ulterior motive to being a governor. There shouldn't be. It's not going to pay you anything. It's not going to get you a better job, so we're not doing it. We should be moving in there and doing that for the best, with the best will, and with more of a philanthropic approach, but bringing our own skills to something that might benefit the school and the wider community.
Thanks. Dan, for you as a chair, and you've been quite a long-standing chair, what do you feel, maybe just as we sort of draw this to a close, what if you're giving advice to somebody either taking on a governor's role or taking on your role, is there anything that you would highlight or bring to the fore?
Yeah, I would say don't do it if you can't spare the time.
As simple as that.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
Don't do it if you can't spare the time, and don't do it if you are doing it with an aim to get something out of it, because that's not what it's about. Be open, be honest, be willing to share opinion, but not to be critical unless there's some worth in the criticism. So constructive criticism will always be taken and accepted and indeed welcomed. Well, it certainly is in our school and always has been. And it's not so much being critical, it's about giving your own experience and the wealth of your experience that you can as a manager, if you like, or in whatever field that you are. Because any principal will welcome any expertise that can be given, so long as it's done with the right intent.
Diane, look, I want to thank you for your time, because as we've alluded to, time's precious, and certainly you've given us an insight a little bit into your role, and certainly your role within Limavady High School from CSSC's perspective, and for those that will be watching the video, it's very much appreciated. So thank you very much.
Not a problem at all. Thank you, Darren.